know what light to turn on. Oh, front door. Anyone would be nice. Anyone. That one will do. Any? No? Any light. There they go. There they go. What's going on, beautiful people? They don't pay us. So we will not what's up? I'm putting on Shastik. I think I've had a Omicron for like 2 weeks now, and it's been rough on my lips. Pause. That whole pause. Just pause the whole thing. What's going on, beautiful people? Happy New Year. Oh, shit, we made it. Whoop, whoop, skadoosh. Yo, my tonsils are so swollen right now. I'm stoned. Full disclosure, I got a new piece today, and I was trying it out, and wow, it was very fantastic. It's a terp slurp. I only do wax. I don't like the looks from smoking. I hate how people look at me. They're like, "Oh, you're high," and I'm like, "Yeah, to deal with with you." All right, well, let's get into today's show. Let's have some fun with today's show. I don't want to overdo the first day back. It's our first day, you know what I'm saying? So let's keep it light. Let's keep it mellow. We're gonna come into today's show with some Post Malone, because why not start the new year with Post Malone? It's Post Malone. He's dope. We'll be talking about UFC's beef with Jake Paul, which is becoming it's interesting. I think it's getting better and better, and I like every single time that what is happening? Don't do this. We're live. Why are you doing this? Jeez. So sorry. We're going to talk about this beef. What? Happy New York. I don't know that. Oh, Happy New Year. I'm slow. Happy New Year. Don't do the hand thing. Don't do that. I want to talk about how much hip hop has advanced and where hip hop stands today. And with that, I want to shout out some podcasts that are running the hip hop landscape. I want to give my flowers to them and give y'all my look on what they're giving the hip hop. Excuse me, what they're giving the podcast. My bad. I got indigestion. My beard is so trash. Like I don't even want to look. I'm so upset. It's gonna be a long show. Yo, there's a new segment on the show called Shit I See on TikTok. There was this freaking kid. Okay, we'll get into it when we start the show. Lil Wayne's bodyguard has seemingly changed his mind and is now pressing charges or attempting to. We'll see what happens with that. CES is going to be cut a day short, and I'm going to give you a couple of reminders, tips, and just different things to look out for with your real estate and your homes and these flip shows. And a couple of horror stories from these flip shows. Because first off, those flip shows they're funny as hell. They really are. I mean, it's terrible what they do in some instances, but in some other instances, it's very good what they do. I don't know how I feel about them. Either way, we're going to talk about that. But I also would like to give some tips for where to not throw your money at in your home. A lot of people think that when they do something to their home, it's an upgrade, and that's not true. Like sometimes you can do what you think is an upgrade, and the entire world is going to tell you it isn't. I'm here to tell you that that's a thing, and it happens all the time. I've had clients that had add-ons. I've had clients that they put in, amazing floors in their eyes. The problem is it's only amazing in their eyes. It's hard to sell something with uniqueness. You have to make things broad, and we'll get into that. Is my microphone popping? I can't tell. Could somebody tell me? It sounds like it is. If it is, I got to restart it before we start recording. Am I popping? Nope. Oh, my bad. Alright, so we good. Alright, let's start recording today's show. Okay, if this is your first time watching, thank you. If you've been here before, you know where the fridge is. Don't ask any questions. Y'all know what time it is. We're here to do this show, and don't touch nothing. Don't act like you don't know what to do. Take your shoes off, get comfortable, and get your favorite flower, your favorite wax, or whatever you like to drink, because we about to talk some shit, all right? And again, if this is your first time, thank you. Hit the subscribe button so you know when we're live. Hit the like button so other people can watch us. And then definitely go to Facebook. You can watch us there. We could chit chat over there. Watch the reels. Head over to the TikTok. Yo, we popping on TikTok. It's a wrap. I might even do a dance. I don't know. I might do a dance on TikTok. I don't know. Let's get into the show. We're gonna record, and we're recording for the podcast. So you are a part of the live studio audience. Happy New Year. So far, nothing's happened. I'm supposed to make an absorbent amount of money by Thanksgiving, and I'm terrified. Let's talk about it. If you're watching and you can't hear any music, it's because you're watching and we can't play music. So you have to wait till tomorrow when the audio version comes out and you can hear the song. Oh, that's a good song too. If they want to send the check, please send a check. Oh, my nails look terrible. The hell? I need a manicure. My nails are dirty. It's Kasabian. Kasabian Lavoe Show. What's going on, beautiful people? What's going on, beautiful people? My name is Kasabian Lavoe. Welcome back to the Kasabian Lavoe Show, live from Las Vegas. And it is brick. It's so cold in Vegas. I'll be your host, Kasabian, with talent on loan from God. That's the way my mentor used to start his show, and I like to keep it rolling. I'm behind the microphone doing what I do best, talking my stuff. Has it been 10 minutes yet? I'm talking my shit, YouTube. You can't stop me. I don't want to create according to the algorithm. I want to just do me. I don't think Cousin's that big of a deal. I don't know. That's just how I feel about it. How's everybody doing? How's your New Year's been? It's Monday, so we got to do mental health. That doesn't change. A couple things have changed. If you're listening to this, it's Tuesday, not Monday. Why? Because now the audio will be released on Tuesdays, and you can watch us and participate on Mondays, which we'll start doing other things with that. But that's going to be the new schedule, plus the vlog drops on Saturdays, and then Riding with Kasabian drops on Sundays. So we got a full week. There's a whole lot of stuff. There's a whole lot of vlogging going on, and I'm gonna. All right, we'll talk about the vlog when we talk about the vlog. We're not gonna do that right now. We're not doing that. Head over to klavoe.com. Check out the merch. We got some new merch coming. Hey, go check out my TikTok. It's hilarious. The comments are something else. I've never done a little video answering a comment until this kid said something that was so profound and funny that I had to do it. So make sure y'all go check that out. Today's show, we're gonna have fun-ish. But once again, before we get into the show, mental health. Like, it's New Year's. It's still the holidays. People are still alone, lonely, away from their loved ones, working. Things are going on. And you know what? Ain't no PPP this year. Very few people have been smoking the Zaza. I've been paying attention to the internet. It seems like the Zaza is all dried up because the moolah is... So... if that's the case, hey, man, it's cool. Keep your head down, work hard, and, don't let it get to you. A lot of people are going through some things, and, there's a lot of changes that are going to come this year. Hopefully, financially, you're in a position that you can, go vertical and not flatline. It's going to be an interesting time. We're definitely coming into some interesting times, and I know it seems bleak for some, but I'm going to tell you this is like the best time to be alive. I promise you that. Right now, this is it. It's funny when you see all these kids that think that it's so nasty and so this and that. It's like, you have no fucking clue. Yo, let me tell you something. I said I'll keep telling stories from our neighborhoods and the things that we had to deal with. So when I say that we used to go to school and have to walk through like 5 different gangs, and it was more, but after 7-Eleven is when it was a problem. So the school wasn't even far. We walked like 2 blocks. Like I don't know, half a mile maybe. It wasn't shit. But within that half a mile, it was so fucking dangerous for no fucking reason. Like we would get yelled at by grown ass men, and they would like scream at us like they didn't see us every fucking day walking to school. They'd be like, "Hey fool, where you from?" Like, bro, you seen me grow up. I'm from right here. Leave me the fuck alone. Okay, that's not how it went. Just being honest. If somebody says where you from, Where I'm from, you better know how to answer that question. And if you answer like a civilian, you'll be treated as such. But if you don't, I had a pillow on my back and that wasn't working too well. But let me tell you this. If somebody says where you from and you say some dumb shit like, I'm from Louisiana, I don't mean to just talk about Louisiana. I'm just saying I've seen some shit like this. You might get punched in your mouth. Just say, but you might be straight. I don't know. It depends who asks you. There's a couple of homies I know that be like, yo, where you from? And you say some shit like, oh, New York. And they be like, what? And they just square up with you for no reason. You just get yelled at and you got to fight. You got to fight. Oh, man. Dude, it was funny. Like, you would make other gangs argue with each other because, like, one would be barking at you and the other gang would be barking at you, too. And then they would bark at each other for barking at you. And then they was send like the little homies to come fight you after school. So you'd have to like run home. So I was like really, really fast because I hated fighting like all the groups. Because if you stuck around and you fought one, if you got off on them, you might have to get off again. Oh man, I need to get George on the show. Living in the ghetto was something special. But walking through gang neighborhoods just to get to school every morning with, a strong possibility of a fight, either between you and your fellow classmates, or one of the gang members in the neighborhood screaming at you. It was a high chance of a fight popping off. And then like when we got older and shit, oh my God. Anyway, listen, we can go on for days with the story. I promise y'all we're gonna start every show with a different ghetto story, just so y'all know what it was like. Like, I understand y'all might think y'all have a hard time and you might have a kid in school that's a Trumper or some shit and some other kid that like doesn't believe in anything and that drives you crazy. And I get it. That's nothing. When you're in class and there's one dude from White Fence on one side and the dude from Grape Street on the other side and they're screaming at each other about how they're going to shoot each other after school, it just causes a different type of anxiety. And you got to pick sides. Sorry, there's no such thing as just being neutral in them damn neighborhoods. But that's just how it went. On today's show, we're going to be talking about the UFC. You know I love the UFC. I think Dana White was probably one of the best at showing us how to operate during quarantine. And he did spectacular things, and you got to take your hat off to him. And he's got a beef right now with Jake Paul, and we'll get into it. I think it's an interesting conversation. How far has hip-hop and technology like pushed where hip hop was and is, right? Like, I think hip hop right now is a whole different space, and I think a lot of people don't know where hip hop is. I feel like hip hop is it's jumped. And getting into that, I want to talk about the podcasters and the new hip hop media landscape that I think is fucking dope to watch. Like, just to be a part of this is very special. Hell yeah, like it's a dope time to be in hip hop right now. So I got a new segment called Shit That I See on TikTok, and this one's gonna be real good. It's about a kid with this magnet. He goes magnet fishing. You're gonna love this story. And we'll talk about Lil Wayne and his bodyguard and what's going on with that guy. CES is actually being cut short because of Omicron. And you see those flipping shows and all those shows that they do like renovations and it's like a contest and shit, or they fix your home for somebody that's like in need. Well, a lot of that shit is capped. So we're going to get into that, and we're going to get into things that you should do and shouldn't do in your home to increase value and help you when you want to sell it, because I feel like people don't understand the difference between an upgrade and some shit you like. And some shit you like and an upgrade are two different things. But let's get into it. So this UFC beef. Oh yeah, did I say head over to kalavoe.com? Head over to kalavoe.com. That's not an ad, it's an ask. Right now, we're asking, not adding. See, it's a difference. Jake Paul seems to think that he's going to be able to change the entire structure of the UFC. The UFC literally puts on a fight card twice a week, and I think it's like 3 times a week, which is phenomenal when we're thinking of the numbers and how many people are getting paid and how many people operate in this organization. The UFC has built a reputation and a company on its own name. Like, it's like the WWE, the WWF, or the NFL. Like, it's an organization that's consistently keeping the lights on, and Dana White has done a phenomenal job of being the flagship leader of that, in which he's not even the owner anymore. Remember, he sold the company. He's just the president. So all these absurdities of asking to pay fighters these crazy amounts of money, it just doesn't make any sense. I know it seems like they don't get paid well, but they get paid better than all these other organizations. And without the UFC, they wouldn't get paid at all. Bare knuckle boxing and bare knuckle fighting has taken a lot of UFC fighters and paid them big bags because it's the look. Like, everybody wants to see the car accident, so they'll pay the top dollar to watch it, and then you can offer them a bigger bag. Maybe the guy that goes over to bare knuckle wasn't that interesting at the UFC. Like, he wasn't really popping off, and you kind of think he's a dickhead, and you want to see him get his head bashed open bare knuckled. So yeah, you're gonna pay to watch, and it's a draw, right? Sports basically work on draws. Like, my barber taught me this shit, and then I looked into it and I learned the whole thing. But if you don't draw an audience, then you don't get paid anything. So this Jake Paul idea of how boxers should be paid, his last pay-per-view flopped. So they're not making money on the pay-per-views because the fight's not interesting. Like I've already said, the Jake Paul's allure is him getting knocked out. If Jake Paul gets knocked out, game over. I really don't think Showtime, I mean, they went from independent to Triller, and now they're over at Showtime. Do you really think that Showtime wants him to get knocked out? I mean, yeah, he knocked out Woodley, but do you really think they want that cash cow to get knocked out? Hell no. As hard as it is to wrap your mind around this, nobody can afford to pay $20 million per fight. That's insane. Jake himself can show you the numbers. They can't afford to pay that shit themselves. It doesn't add up. These people act like the UFC is just kicking everybody around and throwing their fighters around. That's not the case at all. Like, the UFC does very well for their fighters. And the spectacle of fighting is where the bag is. So as a fighter, you're not stuck at the UFC. You run your contract and you go find a bare knuckle contract that pays crazy, go for it. You go find one of these TikTok fights or whatever, or YouTube fights, go for it. But that doesn't mean that because you had a couple of successful YouTube fights, you can change the structure of a multi-billion-dollar company. You know, Jake has probably built for himself a multi-million-dollar company. Not in the double digits, though. Probably like a $5 million company. Dana White has shown from nothing, took the UFC from nothing to that last giant sale and everything they've been able to accomplish. $4 billion, and that company I'm sure is valued at way, way more. Your little YouTubes are cool and shit, but I mean, you're gonna have to provide exciting fights all the time. Nobody wants to keep spending all that bread either. Like, you keep asking $70 and $80 pay-per-views for fights that aren't real fights. That's gonna take a lot of it's a lot of strain. It takes a lot of strain, and you're robbing the audience. It's just it's not gonna work if it continues. With the top of the new year, I want to get into the podcasters and where hip hop is right now. I feel like hip hop's in such a different space. Like, hip hop is the leader. So if you're not in front of the NFT movement, the crypto movement, if you're not doing something in that space with hip hop, if you're not participating in podcasts, if you're not bringing your music over to TikTok, if you're not taking your music into the metaverse, if you're not streaming with your audience, I mean, you're pretty much off the grid. Like, if you don't have a direct fan base that it's a community based thing right now. And if you don't have that, and if you haven't invested in that time with your audience, it's definitely that time to jump on it. Like, hip hop is definitely a community, and every artist, I implore you, if you're a new artist, old artist, you need to build a community around yourself. Like, surround yourself with all your audiences and figure out where y'all at. I feel like Vegas is so far behind. Like, I look around and I'm like, what are y'all talking about? I literally ask questions like, who do y'all think runs hip hop media today? I got one answer: Angie Martinez. I'm like, no, there's no way. What are you talking about? Academics, if it ain't Ag, it's Joe Budden. I mean, and if it ain't Joe Budden, it's Ag. Like, it's just kind of one or the other. That's the truth. Like, sorry, Angie's a legacy, but Angie ain't running shit in hip hop. Ain't nobody running the check Angie Martinez page. That just shows me how far, like, okay, this is how I look at the podcast, like, I guess Monarch, is that what you would call it? Or what would you call it? Like the pecking order? I don't know, but this is how I like hip hop podcasts, right? I'm telling you, Noriega and Drink Champs, to me, that's like Barbara Walters and 60 Minutes, right? Noriega does like all these compelling, long interviews with the most elusive artists and like the people that are legends, and he gets the dopest stories, and he gets to, bring us a perspective that we don't get to see because of what they do. And to me, he's the Barbara Walters of right now. Like that shit, he's cemented. All right. Then I look at Joe Budden, and I think Joe Budden, he's like, he's the leader in hip hop. So he's like TRL, 106 in Park. Honestly, look, Breakfast Club is over. Nobody's listening to Ebro and them. It's Joe Budden and his podcast. It's Rory and Mal. It's Academics. It's Star. He's on YouTube, and he got his podcast popping now. Like, these are the people that run hip hop, like it or not. Like, there's a few others, but when Academics drops, he's like Sally Jesse Raphael, because Academics likes to, you know what I'm saying? Or he's like Jenny. Is he Jenny Jones? Academics might be Jenny Jones. All right, so Nori is Barbara Walters. Ak is Jenny Jones. Joe, who's Joe? Who would Joe be? Joe's the Howard Stern of hip hop. And this is all with all due respect. And I'm just trying to show like the common person who these people are in podcasting and in hip hop and in hip hop media. And if you didn't understand that, you probably should. Oh, you got Gillian Wallow. For me, they what would they be? They're like a late night afternoon show to me when it comes to this podcast and hip hop. Like, if we ran these shows in congruency, is that the right word? Or in conjunction? It's congruent, right? Like, if you run them all day, like, how would you program them to play it? Like, could you play all these podcasts back to back to back to back as TV? I think so. And that's how I see it. Like, Noriega will be at 8 o'clock. Joe Budden and them will be like the 3 to 5 or whatever. Or would he be primetime? I think Joe might be primetime. Yeah, Joe be primetime, and then you would have like Nori and them running on Sundays. I know I'm talking crazy, but that's just how I feel about it. And like, if you don't understand that that's where hip hop media is today, sorry. Like, you're far behind. And if somebody says we should jump on some shit and do something, we should jump on that shit. Like, nobody waits for tomorrow. It's right now or never. I don't know. That's the one that fucking bothers me when I'm like, yo, we should do something. And they're like, I bet I'll see you in a few. Or I'm like, no, like right now. Let's do it right now. Okay, shit I see on TikTok. And I know this is going to be a great segment because I see a lot of shit on TikTok. But there's this kid that goes fishing with a magnet. Now, I'm going to paint the picture. You with your homeboys, right? See somebody that owes you something. Maybe you holding a tool, you know what I'm saying? You out there, yo, it was good. You owe me something. And they like, nah, I owe you shit. And the homie move funny in his pocket. You don't know what he's got, but you got something on you. Bow, bust off. Oh no, the homie hit the ground. You shot me, you bitch. You said, shut up. I told you to give me my money. And then you run off and you throw the gun into the river, because that's where you throw the gun. In the river. Everybody's seen the movies. You shoot somebody, throw the gun in the river, right? That's how the movies work. All right, bomb. Fucking 30 years later, some little white kid with a magnet and a fucking camera on TikTok is fishing and pulls your gun out and then calls the police and turns the shit in. That's what happened. This kid fishes with a magnet and he just grabs random shit. He happened to find a gun. It could have been fake. I don't know. I doubt it. I don't see why they would do that themselves unless it was like a prank. But just imagine that whole scenario and you get caught by some punk ass kid with a fucking TikTok and some stupid ass magnet fishing game. It's like this other dude that I watch that he be like scuba diving and shit, and like he finds phones and then he fixes the phone and like calls the people and goes, hey, I got your phone, and he sends it to them. It's weird as fuck, but TikTok is so fun. It's not upsetting like fucking Facebook, how everybody can't pay rent and shit. Like, oh my God, Facebook is so depressing. But that's the shit that I saw on TikTok, and I wanted to share with everybody because I thought that shit was amazing. I said, wow, that would fucking suck. Like 40 years later, you get busted by some kid. I'm telling you, a TikToker. That's how it goes down. You're just going to get wrapped up in this whole fucking TikTok viral moment that'll be on Netflix or some shit with this punk ass kid that gets you locked up for the rest of your life. Okay. Lil Wayne's bodyguard seemingly wants to press charges now for what happened. More information came out that Lil Wayne hit him in the face with an AR-15 or something of the sorts, supposedly, allegedly, and I don't even know if it's true or not. The bodyguard didn't want to press charges. They actually didn't say anything before, and now all of a sudden there's an issue. Seems like it's a money grab. Like I said, I don't feel like this was a permanent bodyguard or somebody that was hired on to like live in the home and protect the home. This is more of one of those hires that you would use for an event, and he might have got out of line. That's my take on it. Is this gonna go far? Probably not. They'll settle, and if Wayne happened to have an issue, I'm supposing it'll be taken care of. So Vegas thrives off of conventions. Like we make billions and billions of dollars off of conventions, and this little town is well known for our conventions. Although we're a gambling town and our casinos are dope, the convention game in Vegas is second to none. CES is one of our biggest conventions that we have every year, and this year CES is being cut short after some of the biggest names have pulled out altogether. They don't even want to be here. Amazon was one of them. I believe Apple was another one. General Motors pulled out. Ford pulled out because of the Omicron variant. Now, this is affecting our economy, and Vegas really doesn't need any more things to, slow us down or hinder progression into the at least semi where we were. It's going to take a little while for us to get back, and there's a couple of things that hold Vegas back. Right now, your loan is probably way better than any loan that you can find and acquire today. So it's going to be kind of hard to make you move, right? If I'm asking you to move and you have a great loan at a low rate, you're not going to have that same rate today. Houses are very expensive today. So you're going to say, Kasabian, why would I want to move? When houses cost so much and my loan isn't going to be any good. Totally understand. My bad. I got like really bad gas. There's going to be it's going to be a different year. I see prices are going to go up. There'll be an increase in prices in homes, and we'll probably see some more first-time home buyers moving again, hopefully. If not, I don't. With things like this happening, it scares me. This means less people are getting paid. This means more people are stuck because of this virus, and here we go again. All these conventions hold a lot of people. Like, they're pretty much the anti-virus. Everything that you're supposed to do for COVID, Vegas does the opposite. Like, that's literally how we operate, is the opposite of every COVID restriction. Are you crazy? Have you seen how many people come to these fucking conventions? It's insane. My bad. I gotta scroll the camera. Whatchamacallit. My bad, y'all. My bad. It's just one of those shows where we're just coming off the hip. We're just right off the hip. Okay. So because it's top of the year and people haven't been moving, just a heads up, rent's going to keep going up because rentals are on high demand because people can't buy houses. They have to move into rentals. That means that stronger qualified people that could, in a different market, buy a home, can't buy a home, and they're looking for rentals. So when these rentals are asking for 700 credit score and 5 times the rent, it seems outrageous, but there's people out there that got it because those people should be buying a house, but they can't even find one. So rents keep going up. Now, a bunch of legislation and things are moving around, and we might see rent control in Nevada. Right, as of right now, we don't have any rent control. Rents have gone up to 100%. It's been scary to see the numbers, and they're gonna keep going. It's the nature of the beast. Unfortunately, this little town is definitely going to be in it's going through some changes right now, and there's a lot of things that are slowing down. I mean, listen, you can't build houses fast enough. You can't cut the loans fast enough. I learned in class, because I was doing real estate class for the past 2 weeks. I learned in class that the biggest issue that we have when it comes to affordable housing isn't necessarily the housing, it's the loans, the money process. Okay, that I guess I understand that. My biggest problem is I hate when you say affordable housing and then you are targeting families. You're saying you want to build houses for families with low income, and you build a 1-car garage. A family with low income most likely has a bunch of kids. They're going to need a 4 to a 5 bedroom home and a 2-car garage minimum to hold the vehicles for the giant family. And I know it sounds ridiculous, but it isn't. It's just big, and there has to be a way that we can figure out how to build those style homes that retain value. Maybe they start off as a neighborhood for low income buyers, and then once they sell it, the neighborhood reverts to just a regular neighborhood. Wouldn't that be a way to do low income housing? I mean, what's the solution? That's just one solution. But as of right now, Vegas is dried up. If you can't find a house, you got to rent, and rent is going through the roof. Got to pay attention to where you're going. Don't waste your money on applications. Just don't do it. If you're looking to sell your house and you have upgrades, make sure they're real upgrades and make sure they're not just things that you like. People like to add stuff on their home, and in your eyes, it's probably the most beautiful thing you've ever seen, and it brings a lot of joy to you, but you have to remember that has to bring joy to 99% of everybody. Sorry. You can't just do something and then go, no, this cost me X, so I want X back, and then expect somebody to walk in and go, well, whoa, I didn't want this. Like, I just want a regular house. Just because you did all this, I don't care about this. See, the value isn't there, right? You have to know the difference between what it costs and what the value is. You can spend $5,000 and make 15. And in most instances, I see people spend $20,000, $30,000 on some crazy tile. They'll do an add-on with no licensing. They'll do just like the most out-of-the-box kitchens that you could even imagine. Usually it'll cost $15,000 to $25,000 to revert all the headaches that most people do to their house that they assume are upgrades and they would expect a huge return on. And in reality, no, most of the time you'll upgrade your house. And I tell all my clients, most of your upgrades are just for you. Unless they're real upgrades that increase quality of living, that increase the value of the home in a real way. Yeah, you might have just wasted your money. You know, unfortunately, you have to treat homes as businesses, and you can't fall in love with them. Once you fall in love with them, it's a wrap. So as I'm running down the stories and looking at what's going on with the housing market, I came across a story on BuzzFeed about houses that were on flip shows and on shows that had renovations, just any type of reality TV where they took somebody's house and they flipped it or they built it or they did their backyard. And I pulled a couple of funny ones that I saw in here. Honestly, I wish there was videos. Like if we had videos, I would love to run the videos. But the first one was it was only a few. Some of them weren't that bad. Like some of them, it was what you expect. Full disclosure, if you're on a TV show, just understand you're going to be treated as such. Like sometimes the furniture don't stay. A lot of people think that all that beautiful furniture they put in, you stay with that most expensive. No. You might get lucky if they leave any furniture. You'll keep the bedrooms, I'm sure, but I doubt that they leave any artwork. I doubt that they leave electronics. And even if they said in the show they're going to, unless it's built into the house, don't expect it to stay. And I think these people weren't really impressed with how fast the work was done, because in all reality, it takes a lot of time to rebuild, fix, upgrade, any type of work. It shouldn't be done in a week. Like these rushes and these timelines that TV shows put on you, they're they're completely insane. They just don't make any sense at all. The first story from BuzzFeed says the person received the backyard makeover that was quite literally shitty. We were on a backyard makeover show and it was done super cheap fast. They decorated really, really nice for the reveal. Then they took all the decorations away, which actually made it look good. You see what I'm saying? They had a little pond in the backyard that was hooked up with an extension cord. Wow. That would throw a breaker every time it rained. But the best part was that 2 weeks after the show, our backyard was very soggy and smelled like shit. It turns out that they dug up a sewer line. Holy shit, when they put it in the pond and the sewage was going everywhere. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? It's shit like that. Like literally shit like that. But there you go. You get your backyard done and it's just a shithole. That's terrible. Somebody make it make sense. And then what's the rush for? Like, does it really look good on camera? Because that rush doesn't work. Oh, here's another thing. Don't paint your countertops and make them look like marble and then think that it's marble. You have to disclose that when you sell the home. You can't just say, oh, no, that's marble. No, that's illegal. That is paint. You have to tell people that you painted the countertop. I see a lot of people do that. Like that's like a new thing. It's paint. and that doesn't really bring any value. It just looks nice for you. Some person might walk in and go, "What the fuck is this?" Rip it out and get real stoned. So, moral of the story: don't waste your money on like cheap upgrades. Find real upgrades. Here's another one, another story. Sorry, like the screen isn't moving because the stories are really short. It says, remember Extreme Makeover? It was a show where they built or hugely remake a home for a needy person or homeowner. Now, that was actually a really good show. They used to take a picture of the house, and then they would put the thing that covered the house, and the bus would be in the front. They would move the shades, and the bus would move, and you'd see your new house. I'm like, oh, yeah, it's so pretty. Here's the catch. It was never that pretty because you didn't get to pick anything. Like, it's my house, and you have mad strangers in my house decorating my shit, and I'm supposed to just be like, oh, thank you. Weird. It's just weird. What else? So they did a house in my town. I won't say which house it is for privacy. My brother was a builder. He was approached to help build the home in the dead of winter. Bro couldn't help. But our friends and our neighbors did. They volunteered to help the home, and they completed it in 1 week in heavy rain and cold, and they built it. Now the home has a number of problems, and the owner went back to Extreme Makeover to fix everything and was told, you got it for free, fix it yourself. That shit is crazy. The fact that if this was real, this is another thing. These stories could be bullshit, so it might not be a real thing. But if that's real, that's wild, bro. Could you, hey, you remember that weird ass wall that y'all put in here with the fucking ladder and the swing set? Yeah, it's leaning over, and there's water coming through the roof, and there's fire shooting out of the fucking sink. And I don't understand what y'all did. Hello? Hello? You got the house for free. You can fix it. Could you imagine the dickhead on the other side of the phone like, zippity-doo-dah, and just hangs up? Fuck this. Click. How sick is it that you thought you got your house fixed and it didn't work out? Like, at all. And then how do you fix things? What if you're not even handy? Ain't that a bitch? Like, that's wild to me. There was actually one in Vegas that I wanted to go over, but I didn't even really like the story of the Vegas house. I worked on one of the construction. Why did they write it like that? I worked for one of the construction companies, is what you wanted to write. That was contracted to build a new home on Extreme Home Makeover. This was like 10 plus years ago at the height of its popularity. Anyway, it was huge and nice and built for a widowed mother with several kids. Father had died, hence why she was on the show. Even though the house was given to her, she couldn't afford it. And after a year or so, the property tax, electricity, water, and upkeep she basically got priced out of a home, which happens often. She had to put the house on the market because it was just too big of a home. That happens a lot too. Don't buy too big of a home. It's not. Sometimes you got to pay attention to your taxes, your bills in so many different ways, because you can get a deal today and it might be just the biggest headache tomorrow. Like, that happens all the time. People go house poor all the time. They'll get the biggest house they can. They don't realize them big ass houses come with problems. Like, there's maintenance. If you're not handy, you got to pay for all that. That becomes a headache. It really does. And with that, that's today's show. I know it wasn't the greatest, but nothing's really going on. And it's actually been a pretty calm beginning of the year. Antonio Brown walked off the game. Joe Budden kind of predicted that, which is crazy as shit. Besides that, everything's been peaceful. My name's Kasabian. Live in the moment. Don't live in the past. Be safe. Stay dangerous. Lavoe loves you. One.